Hello everyone, a little while ago we had a poll asking what is going to make your web page promotional and therefore requiring prescribing information, and this was in relation to when you're naming products such as in product lists. Now 5% of you said that mention of name plus therapy area would be promotional, 38% said name plus indication, 38% said both of those, either of those could be promotional, 10% said neither of those situations would be promotional, and 10% felt that the product name alone could be promotional. So this is based on two similar but different cases. The first being 0250 0724 with Ceramed. They had a product list on their web page. It had name plus therapy area, and it was indicated that it was for potential business partners, those who may wish to, for example, buy or license a product dossier. And HCPs were redirected to a separate part of that web page containing information relevant to being an HCP. The other case is 02550824 Recordati. They also had a web page with a product list, the name and the indication and form, and it was part of the HCP section. Now it had links to SPCs, for example, and it was intended as a point of access to regulatory information for the HCPs. It had no product claims. Both companies felt that their web page was non-promotional and did not require prescribing information, but what did the panel think? So in the first case, the panel felt that in some cases, the use of a product name plus its therapy area might be regarded as promotion, and therefore in some cases you may need to include prescribing information there. However, on the facts of this particular case, because HCPs were redirected elsewhere, it was clear that this was a business-to-business page. It was listing what dossiers were available for purchase. In this case, they felt that it was not promotional and did not require PI. It didn't go so well for Recordati though. They had the name plus the indication, and it's an established principle that name plus indication is highly likely to indicate promotion. Now, even though it was intended as an access point for regulatory materials, which are generally non-promotional, don't forget it's also an established principle under the code that using a non-promotional material for promotional purposes makes that material now promotional. So in that case, they were in breach because it was promotional and they did not have PI on there. Now that might seem a little harsh given that they were trying to give access to regulatory documents, but this is actually not a new point. Case 3059818, so you can see 2018, much longer ago with Lundbeck. There was a public facing web page, and again it had a list of products including brand and generic names, indications, and it linked to the EMC. So again, it was intended as an access point to regulatory information. However, because of that name plus indication and information about the pharmaceutical form, it was actually regarded as being a promotional web page, and in that case, promotion to public. So the key thing with reference information generally, although you're allowed to put it there, it is generally intended as a library of just those documents, nothing, no commentary, etc. about it, and something that people would generally have to actively search for. So that's the kind of difference there, although I can imagine many of you think that these are quite harsh rulings. Any comments, as usual, leave it below. Anything else you want to discuss, let me know.